motif in '98. Our friend brought some turntables downstairs, and so on breaks or at night, if you weren't working on something on that album, I remember Dr. Octagon was almost constantly spinning.
Yeah.
And so yeah. You know.
And like you said, Lovage and Handsome Boy, and yeah, I mean he's done a lot of great work. Been fans of it. Growing up in the Bay Area, like most people dig at least one of his things, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Is it true that you guys were only in the studio for 2 days and then did the rest at his house?
No, we just went to. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
His house is the studio, though. I mean, it's all studio. It's just we just went in to get the main drum tracks, you know, 3 days somewhere or something, and then the rest of it, he's got this great setup where you just go to the basement of his house and finish it there. So, yeah.
Prior to working on the record with Dan the Automator, what did you guys talk about with him? What did you want out of this record?
Something different and than we've ever done. Basically, I think we were looking to do that and realized it was kind of a bold step to take, I guess, you know. But we had just made Pariah, which we took many years on creating and very meticulous about it, and we just wanted to get this record out, you know, a lot quicker than 3 years span, and we felt like waiting that long was a little detrimental. So, I mean, that was our main goal, I think, was to collaborate with him, someone who came from a different background and would bring something new to the table for our band. Yeah. Someone who's experienced. As we said, we were fans of his work, so put trust in, you know, his ideas and so on.
What about for you, Mark?
I think the main thing for me was he seemed to have a vision. He seemed to have an idea. So it was kind of probably one of the first times where we knew we had songs. He lent a hand in a couple of the songs writing, but we kind of just let him do his thing. It was, you know, it was one of the first times where you hear the songs, you know, you kind of do what you do with them. You know, so it felt refreshing. It felt good, you know. Like Gavin said, we worked so long on Pariah, and it was completely us, you know. So yeah, kind of trying to let go in a way of trying to overanalyze something to death. It's just the songs are there, and it's a producer you respect, so go for it.
With this album, was it technique or feeling, or a bit of both?
Well, when it came to the tracking, I think it was more feeling. I mean, at least I'm speaking for myself as a vocalist, there were certain takes where I felt like maybe there was a take that was better pitch-wise or something, but Dan's like, no, this one feels good, you know, and like he'd kind of roll more with feeling than opposed to perfection and doing take after take after take, you know. We'd run through like 3 live takes and be like, cool, you know. So it was very loose and kind of easy in that manner, I guess, you know.
It was letting go of the stressing and overanalyzing, and you know, I would work with the engineer, and a lot of the tracks, actually guitar-wise, I did myself at home before we even started with Dan. And if they were good enough, we found a way to work them in. But yeah, it was not the same for me. Kind of just like I said, stressing and overanalyzing about every single part, every single tone. So yeah. It felt good.
I heard he actually wrote a handful of songs, and a few of them made the record, and a few of them didn't.
Yeah.
What's it like writing in collaboration with him?
There's just a different approach. I mean, I think that's why he did it. He wanted us to kind of get outside of our box and what we normally do, kind of our comfort zone. And, you know, he wasn't determined to put any of them on the record unless he's like, if all your songs beat all of these, we'll use all your songs. You know, it's just a way of having more material at our, you know, at our disposal, basically, and something that maybe we wouldn't do would be there in front of us, you know. So.
And one of his is actually one of my favorites on the record. The Tent is one of my favorite songs on the record. It's just got such a great feeling to it.
That's the one you just released the teaser for.
Yeah.
That's a Dan song.
It's very Dan too.
In comparison to the last record, or even Catch Without Arms, how have you grown individually as musicians?
Maybe that's for someone else to say. I don't know. That's kind of tough. When you're within something, it's a lot harder to step outside and see over time. But I mean, the most obvious thing, I'm a guitar player, so the most obvious thing for me I could say is that I'm not as worried about, you know, punching in the distortion and tripling my guitar parts and making it the hugest rock song ever. Like when I was younger, I wanted, you know, let's get the biggest guitar sound. So that's just for me. I'd rather it's all about the song and what's good for the song, and not not have this preconceived notion that it's always going to end up with this huge giant climax that involves, you know, powerful drums and powerful guitars. But when you're within something, it's kind of tough to see how we've grown, you know.
To me, I'm always trying to mainly better myself as a lyricist, I guess, and just looking into songs and studying music as best I can, you know, just learning songs on my acoustic guitar and seeing how people phrase verses and choruses and their rhyme schemes, and, you know, just to learn a different approach to writing, you know. Once again, not getting caught up in a comfort zone, and, you know. So I think for me on this record, it was more about that, like learning random songs that I'm not necessarily a fan of, but do well on some level, like everything from country tracks to old like 50s era music and stuff, you know.
You'd said that you wanted to do something different with this record. Given the state of the music industry, is that at all intimidating?
I don't know how much you really think about that. I mean, the state of the music industry is that there is no state, kind of. So I think whatever you do and you want to do is, I mean, anyone can find anything, whatever they want to, because of how it is. There isn't the old, like, some big company's pushing you, so that's how you're going to succeed. I really don't think we ever think about that anymore. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's more about...
We're like well beyond that now, which is very good feeling, to be honest. It's like...
I remember being really nervous for these LA shows because of that, just the old idea that you're in LA and everyone's here to see you, and now it's like, you know, I have friends here and there's some, you know, some of the industry people we work with are here, but besides that, it's just another show, you know. That stuff's kind of gone by the wayside. So.
I think it's part of getting older and being in, you know, a band for as long as we have. We've seen pretty much every angle of the business, and you just get comfortable in it and know it, you know. So It's nothing new and nothing's really interesting or intriguing about it. There's no surprises really. So I think if anything, like Mark said, there is no right way to do anything anymore. You could have a hit song from some cool video you make that goes viral on YouTube, or you can have a song do well because it was on a commercial, or you can...
Or just be a hard-working touring band
There's
that
no
gains a following.
formula, you know?
You guys have been doing this for a long time, and last April you released the Leitmotif on vinyl for the 11th anniversary. Are there moments within all the years that you've been doing this that stand out the most to you?
The first Fillmore headliners, because we grew up in San Francisco, you know, things like that. When you finally headline and sell out a big venue, you know, it's great. We did a great show in Germany last year where we played all of Pariah, you know, filmed for television, that sort of thing.
Yeah, an amazing concert hall too. It's by far the nicest place we've ever played.
Symphony Hall. Mm-hmm. And I think they actually just released that DVD through Visions magazine. Things like that, you know, kind of certain shows that are special shows. We're doing a show with Salman Rushdie, acoustic shows at a charity event in New York a couple of years ago. Things like that just stick out in my mind. Besides that, I don't know, you know, I mean...
Yeah, the Rushdie thing was a standout for me, just because it was so different too. I'm sitting in a bookstore, primarily toned down with keys and quiet guitars, and was someone who we're a fan of, you know,
one of
respect
the
a lot.
Brilliant minds of this world, Salman Rushdie.
Back in the day, had you thought that this band would have gotten to this point?
I think I had hoped for it, but I didn't have expectations for it. I think I always wanted to. Well, actually, I wanted to be bigger than this. To be honest, I thought I could pay my rent and buy a house and raise kids, and that's not really happening. But I was one of those hopes, but I didn't expect to do some of the things we've done. That's for sure. You know?
Yeah, I mean, if we go way back to when we started, I don't even think I thought about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, when we go, obviously you want people to enjoy your music, but I'm just thinking back to Leitmotif. We went to the studio for a week or two, and in our minds we were recording a demo, you know? I never imagined that people in Turkey would hear it, or wherever.
And be angry that we don't still sound like that.
And be angry that we don't sound like we did when we were 19.
18-year-olds, yeah.
And we're, you know.
We get hate mail because we don't sound like how we sounded 12 years ago. People get very upset.
Do they?
Yeah. They expect us to still play music as 18-year-olds.
Oh, man.
They come see us live. They play some songs off Leitmotif, no big deal. You know? Doesn't mean the new record needs to sound like that.
What was it like last year when you guys did that run where you played it in its entirety?
It was fun. It was good.
Is
Yeah,
it
it's
weird
cool.
playing those songs after all those years?
Very.
Yeah, some of them, yeah. There's moments within the songs that feel still very relevant, but some of the parts, yeah. I mean,
I critique him the whole time. Like, what the hell was I doing? Was I even like paying attention right here? That's how I feel. But yeah, like Mark said, there are parts that you fall into it, and it's
there
a
are
good
parts
place
that
to
could be on a new record. Fine, they would fit fine.
Yeah.
But there are other parts that, yeah, they're just very young. In our minds, at least, they feel very young, green, if you will.
Speaking of parts of songs, some of the demo tracks made it over to the album.
Yeah, I alluded to that earlier. Like a lot of guitars and keys that I have my Logic at home, and if I worked for hours and hours on a tone and a part, Dan was smart in the sense of like, why are we going to try to recreate that tone that you spent hours on in your living room, doing yourself?
Yeah.
I was like,
he's like, we're gonna waste time just trying to recreate it when we have it right here.
So as long as it fit in and we all still liked it, it stayed, Because then you end up with the old demo-itis, You try to get a new take with a new, new performance, but you like the demo sound so much, and then you're sitting there trying to chase its tail.
What's his outlook on just music in general? What does he try to get from artists?
He wants a great song, and he wants it to be unique, but he doesn't want to overanalyze and try too hard in the sense of, is it the best way
He's
to put
very
it?
loose, like just the way he works. Like, oh, let's try this right here. Oh, that's cool. Let's use it. Like it's not. He doesn't overanalyze anything. As I go back, he's more about feeling and a song. I mean, I proposed some tracks to him for Pariah because thought about maybe working with him on that record, and he's honest with me. He's like, I'm not really feeling any of these songs. So he's, he needs to be, I think, first and foremost, a fan of what he's working on and into it on some level,
Yeah.
And he's obviously an experienced guy, so he does what he wants.